I just want to take a moment and consider a fact. I got to admit, having grandkids really makes you kind of look at life in a different way, because you think about what you want them to know, whether you express it verbally or by your actions, the things that you want them to know. And I was considering recently this issue of just simply repentance. And we know that repentance, as described in the Bible, this is a change of attitude that ultimately will affect behavior. You don't measure it by behavior as much as you do by attitude, because there are many things that we know are wrong, and we're like the person there in Matthew 18, 7 times in a day we come and ask for forgiveness, but somehow it just simply keeps cropping up. It's maybe a little different, but it's still there to some degree. So we're not like those people that are just going to fixate on behavior, and we define how a person's life is to be, and we become the judge of all things. That's not what I'm talking about. Repentance is a person that turns to the Lord. And in 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 14, their heart changes. And ultimately that change of heart changes everything. They grow from faith to faith and glory to glory. Now, with that said, what do we want our kids and grandkids and loved ones around us to know? Well, number one, that we're human, that we make mistakes. But an interesting little proverb that I read recently that kind of touched me. It says that he that falls into the dirt, the longer he stays there, the fouler he gets. Well, think about that for a moment. We live in a culture where people just revel in all the things that have been done to them, the harm that they have suffered, the emotional damage that they felt. The longer you stay there, the more you stink. It's kind of like what Peter talked about in 2 Peter chapter 2, when he says, look, the dog returns to its, and eats its vomit, and the pig, once it's been washed, goes back into the pigsty. It just wallows in the muck. It's human nature to kind of go back into the bad things. And we have to be careful, because we don't want to teach people to live as the product of what's been done to them. Then they never get out of it. The stench of that stays with them forever. So how do we educate them out of this? Well, one thing that we do is we acknowledge our own wrongdoing. We acknowledge the fact that we're just broken people desperately in need of God's mercy ourselves. That there is no one that's perfectly right. We're not the judge of all men. That's God's business, not ours. Everyone's going to stand or fall before him. And because we're the recipient of God's mercy, when we fail, we acknowledge it, understanding that we're going to receive mercy. And secondly, that we want to make it better. We want to do it right. We want to do what pleases him. And when we come to God with that hard attitude, and we express that, and others see that hard attitude in us, in 1 John 1:9, they come to know a just and righteous God who has provided for us and forgives us. A forgiveness that is real, not just a works forgiveness, but that's penance, but a true forgiveness that is real because of what he has done for us, not what we can do to make it right. I don't know about you, but I want the loved ones in my life to know that we all fail. We don't have to stay there. That we can acknowledge our failure and turn to a God who gives us the grace. He literally cleans us up. He washes us in his own blood. He cleans us up, and he purges the guilt that would so readily manipulate us and the dead works to try and make it right in Hebrews 9:14. He purges us of all of that so that we can live with a clear conscience. Not saying we haven't done wrong, but understanding that we've been forgiven, which, by the way, makes it all the easier for us to forgive another as we've been forgiven in Ephesians 4:32. Isn't that what you want your loved ones to know about you? I hope so. Can't pass on a lot, but let's pass on the greatest gift that we've ever received, and that's the gift of God's forgiveness and the acknowledgement that it's there for us when we fail. True repentance. Isn't it the kindness, the goodness, and the kindness of God in Romans 2:4 that leads us to repentance? There has to be something good about it. It can't just be, I'm going to get it if I don't. There has to be something good about it. It's his forgiveness. It's his blood that was shed. It's his mercy seat. It's his Son on the right hand making intercession. That's what makes it good. Let's show him that. Until next time, friends, God bless you.